It started on a serious note. Bill Shorten was asked about mental health funding and brought a personal touch to the issue of suicide.
How many people here have either had a family member or know one degree of separation, know a family who's experienced suicide or attempted suicide? I'd like to see a show of hands. Now, that's amazing.
The opposition leader had the attention of the 100 undecided voters.
Sorely disappointed, I'd say, that Malcolm couldn't make it. Like Matthias Coleman suggested, you seem come across as like quite a nice guy.
But with the state of the budget, the Labor leader can't please everyone.
Will you drop the tax on tampons?
The GST, you mean?
No. And I've got to say, I'm not going to make a promise that I can't keep.
Labor had backed the removal of the GST on tampons in 2015, but
we can't afford that. And
the opposition leader was pressed on the state of the budget and whether if there were another GFC, there could be similar handouts seen under the Rudd government. The opposition leader indicated that perhaps some of that money was not that well spent.
I don't think the record was all good and I don't think the record was all bad. We will make real structural improvements tackling the issues of paying down debt.
Both major parties have failed to deliver on surplus pledges. Perhaps that's why a quarter of voters are looking at minor parties. Bill Shorten was asked for his take.
I'm betting, and I guess July the 2nd will tell me if my bet pays off, that a positive plan for the future can trump mindless negativity.
Not that the opposition leader could resist a dig at Malcolm Turnbull when asked broadly about climate change.
I have to say that I like the old Malcolm Turnbull more than the new Malcolm Turnbull on climate change, and I feel that he's had to sell his soul to his party to have that job.
As one of the Prime Minister's favourite areas, innovation, and whether Uber and Airbnb should be allowed to flourish.
You've got a lot of taxi drivers or taxi plate owners who've invested in taxi plates. I'm not going to stand here and pretend to you that I think it's an easy issue to resolve.
And there's always a few left field questions.
Would you ever consider doing a Snapchat face swap with Malcolm Turnbull? Thank you.
Do you know what a Snapchat face swap is?
Yes to the last question.
And a very difficult and familiar issue for Labor.
What are you going to change the current system where we lock up asylum seekers like they're criminals rather than giving them their human right, which is to seek asylum?
We'll make better oversight of these facilities. People smugglers sell tickets on unsafe boats to people who then drown at sea on the promise of onshore processing. I don't want those people back in business. I don't want the drownings. I cannot in good conscience ignore the consequences of that policy.
More than halfway through this campaign, this is a fascinating insight into what is driving voters in this campaign. There was not much mention of health and education funding. This is seen as a strength of Labor's, perhaps for voters, more of a question for Malcolm Turnbull. No real mention as well of negative gearing. That will please Labor. They're hoping this does not become a big negative for them. Perhaps the negative ads will change that in the final weeks of the campaign. One thing that did get a mention, though, debt and deficit will be crucial, exactly what voters make of Labor's plan for greater deficits in the first 4 years, but then a better outcome overall for the budget over 10 years. Tom Connell, Sky News, Brisbane.